Howdy everybody, so I'm here in New Kingston, Pennsylvania. Still got a lot of snow on the ground. It's warming up, so it's going to start melting. So this video we'll talk about an early payoff penalty called 321. What is that? How does it apply to a truck loan? What does it mean to you as a small business owner? and should you or should you not take a loan if it has an early payoff penalty? So I bought my 2022 Peterbilt 579. Had 350,000 miles on it. Came with an APU. There we go. Came with an APU. And then I added a grill guard and a refrigerator, and I think the total on that truck was like $82,000. And I ended up putting $20,000 down as a down payment. So a pretty good down payment. And my credit score was over 800. Now, they initially approved my loan from Daimler Financial, and it was like, even though it was a Peterbilt, I was buying it from a Freightliner dealership, so they had Daimler Financial. And the interest rate on that was like, I don't know, it was kind of high. It was like 13%, okay? Now, if you were to buy a truck from Crete and go through Crete Truck Purchase Program and finance your truck through Capital Casualty, their interest rates were above 11%. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was pretty high. And the thing with Capital Casualty and Crete was they're not willing to negotiate. I'm like, well, look, I bought 2 trucks from you. My credit score is over 800. You know, give me a break. Why do I have to pay 11-12% interest rate? Can't we negotiate? And you're like, nope, no negotiation. I'm like, all right. So I bought my truck from a dealership instead. And I declined the Daimler Financial loan offer. The interest rate was too high. And so the finance manager at the dealership had another financing company available called Bell Equipment Financing, BELL, out of, I think they're out of Sioux Falls, Idaho, or Sioux Falls, Iowa, something like that. And they came back with an interest rate of like, I would say 8.25%, which was huge. I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5% interest rate difference between what I could get through Daimler Financial and what I could get through Crete and Capital Casualty. So yeah, I took it, and I asked them, I said, well, one of the questions I had before I agreed to it was, is there an early payoff penalty? And they're like, yes, there is. I'm like, okay, what is it? It's this 321. So if you pay off the truck early, like the first year of your loan, they're gonna penalize you 3% for doing that. So instead of paying 8.25% interest, your interest rate would go to 11.25, and so on for year 2 and year 3. So year 2, it drops down to 2%, and then year 3, it's only at 1%. I'm like, that's fine. I could care less. You know, it was like putting $20,000 down on an $82,000 truck and financing it for 36 months. My truck payment is less than $2,000 a month. And mind you, this comes with that Thermo King Tri-Pack APU Evolution, you know, which in itself is probably worth around $15,000 if you were to go add an APU on to the truck afterwards. And it's been running great, and no complaints there. So there was good value for the dollar, and I wasn't going to let this early payoff penalty affect my decision whether or not to take that loan. I said, absolutely, I'll take that loan. You know, and truthfully, I could pay that truck off in the first year if I wanted to, or the second year. or I may just let it ride the duration, go the full 3 years. See, it is building business credit, because all the truck payments are being reported to PayNet. So when you pay your monthly truck payment through Crete, they don't report it to any of the credit bureaus. So, you know, if you go to a dealership and they pull your business credit report, and they'll say, well, you don't have any business credit report. You're like, well, I paid off 2 trucks, but they're through Crete. You don't get credit for that. Now, Crete will give you a credit reference letter, you know, which is nice, but it's not the same thing. You know, it's better to have the payment showed on your business credit report, and the service that shows that payment being made is called PayNet. So by financing this 2022 Peterbilt through Bell Equipment Finance, I get all my truck payments reported to PayNet, and I'm building business credit. So when I go buy my next truck, I'll have that payment history, you know, and good credit, because it'll show I never missed a payment and I paid the truck off. So even though you could pay the truck off in 1 year or 2 years, you may not want to, because you're getting all that credit history built. If you pay it off early, you're not establishing that business credit. So keep that in mind when you look at these loans and say, oh, there's an early penalty, payoff penalty, something like 321. That may mean nothing to you, because you're going to pay the full duration so you can build business credit and get that payment history. So I wouldn't let the early payoff penalty detract you from getting that loan. Now, there are some advantages to buying this crazy truck. I'm buying a truck through the dealership, not through Crete. I only make 1 truck payment per month. So let me flip this around. Like that. Here's my truck. I only make 1 truck payment per month. Now, if you buy through Crete, you're going to make a truck payment every week. So I make 1 monthly truck payment. That's it. I don't have a required maintenance account, and I can leave Crete anytime I want, because the equipment's not financed through Crete. And there's no speed limiter on the truck either. You know, so there's a lot of advantages to buying a truck from a dealership rather than Crete. And the other thing is, when you go get a loan, they're going to use your business address for the loan. So I think, like, a lot of times you're worried about, you know, what address do you use? Well, it's your business address. That's all they go by. You know, so, you know, a lot of times owner-operators have a challenge when it comes to their home address, because they basically live in their truck. And you're like, well, you know, I don't want to use my family's address. You know, how do I apply for this loan and still meet all the requirements? Well, you don't worry about it, because you're not going to use your home address. You're going to use your business address, which makes it easier. You know, it makes it much easier to get a loan. And then I would also say, you know, the Crete trucks are a good truck for your first truck, but I would recommend you buy your second and third truck and so forth from a dealership. You're going to be much happier. And I wouldn't take one of these Crete trucks past their warranty. You know, my truck I bought with 355,000 miles. I'm only going to keep it up to 600,000 miles. That's it. And then I'm going to be buying another truck. And when I go and buy another truck, I'm going to have all them truck payments on my credit report, and I'm going to have established business credit. And then I'll have a truck for trade-in value as well. So this truck I paid $82,000 for. The most I ever paid for a truck was $103,000 during peak freight. Truck prices went through the roof. So when I get ready to trade in my Peterbilt, you know, I'm thinking I'll probably get at least 15 grand for it. And then I could probably put down, I mean, I could put down another 50 grand, but let's say I put down another 15. So 15 for a trade-in plus 15 for additional down payment. That's a total down payment of $30,000. You go buy a truck for $100,000, 30 grand down, you're only borrowing $70,000. You know, so that'd be a pretty nice low mileage truck. You know, probably for 100 grand, you could probably get a truck with less than 300,000 miles. You know, which is great. So that's what I would recommend. Don't be scared off by early payoff penalties. You know, it's all about strategy. What's your strategy? Are you trying to build credit history? Are you trying to build your credit report? You know, are you realistically going to pay that truck off in the first year or the second year? If your answer is no, then the early payoff penalty is meaningless. It doesn't affect you. You know, even if you did, sorry, even if you did 1%, 2%, not that big of a deal. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.